When Jupiter, the planet of expansion, benevolence, and wisdom, resides in the first house of a natal chart, it creates an individual whose very presence feels like a sunny day. The first house, traditionally the house of self and the ascendant, governs your physical appearance, your temperament, and the lens through which you view the world. With Jupiter here, that lens is wide-angled and tinted with optimism. The Jovian personality. Individuals with this placement are often described as larger than life. This isn't necessarily about physical size, though Jupiter can certainly contribute to a robust or tall stature. Rather, it refers to the energetic footprint they leave behind. There is a natural confidence and an infectious enthusiasm that follows them into a room. You likely possess an innate belief that things will just work out, a form of spiritual insurance that allows you to take risks others might find daunting. This placement suggests a person who is a natural philosopher. You aren't just living life, you are seeking the meaning behind it. You likely value honesty, freedom, and intellectual growth above all else. Because the first house is how others perceive you, you are often seen as a mentor, a lucky charm, or a jolly visionary. People are drawn to your can-do spirit, making you a natural leader or a sought-after companion in times of crisis. Appearance and vitality. Jupiter is the planet of more, and in the first house of the body, this often manifests as a strong constitution and high vitality. You likely have an expressive face, a warm smile, and a penchant for bright colors or bold fashion choices that reflect your inner buoyancy. There is often a sense of physical bigness, whether that's a loud laugh, wide gestures, or a literal tendency to take up space. However, the shadow side of Jupiter's influence on the body is overindulgence. Because Jupiter knows no bounds, there can be a tendency toward excess, whether in food, drink, or simply overcommitting your physical energy. Maintaining a balance between your grand appetites and your physical limits is a lifelong lesson for this placement. The philosophical outlook. Your identity is deeply tied to your belief system. For a first-house Jupiter individual, knowing thyself is a journey that involves traveling, higher education, or spiritual exploration. You don't just adopt a personality, you curate a worldview. You likely feel a profound sense of purpose, as if you are meant for something significant. This isn't usually born of ego, though it can be, but rather a genuine desire to improve the world around you. You are the ultimate yes person. Opportunity seems to find you because your aura is open to it. While others might see a closed door, you see a puzzle to be solved or a detour toward something better. This luck is often just your proactive optimism meeting the right moment. Potential challenges. While Jupiter is the great benefic, its presence in the first house is not without its pitfalls. The primary risk is hubris. When life consistently rewards your risks, it is easy to become overconfident or even preachy. You might find yourself giving unsolicited advice or assuming your way of life is the right way for everyone. Furthermore, Jupiter's expansive nature can lead to a lack of focus. When every horizon looks promising, it becomes difficult to plant roots or finish what you start. You may struggle with the mundane details of life, preferring the big picture to the boring reality of day-to-day maintenance. There is also the danger of self-importance. Because you feel so connected to the divine or the grand plan, you may occasionally forget the importance of humility and the needs of others who don't share your boundless energy. Growth and evolution. Ultimately, Jupiter in the first house is a gift of character. It grants you the resilience to bounce back from any setback. Your path to success lies in your ability to channel your immense optimism into tangible wisdom. By learning to ground your grand visions with a bit of Saturnian discipline, you become a powerhouse of manifestation. You are here to remind the rest of the zodiac that the world is a place of abundance, not scarcity, and that the greatest adventure of all is simply being yourself, while Jupiter in the first house provides the volume. The zodiac sign on the ascendant provides the genre of that energy. The sign modifies how your optimism is expressed and where your natural luck is most likely to manifest. Fire signs, the radiant trailblazers. When Jupiter is in Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, the personality is high octane. In Aries, you are a fearless pioneer with a me-first confidence that inspires others to follow. In Leo, your Jupiterian warmth manifests as dramatic flair and a heart of gold, making you a natural performer or regal leader. In Sagittarius, Jupiter is at home, in its domicile. Here, the energy is at its purest, creating a person who is a perpetual student, a traveler, and a joyful truth seeker. Earth signs, the manifestors. In Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, Jupiter's expansion is directed toward the material world. In Taurus, you find luck through sensory pleasures, patience, and financial stability. In Virgo, your luck comes from your attention to detail and your desire to be of service. You find growth through self-improvement. In Capricorn, Jupiter is in its fall, which can feel a bit restrictive. However, this creates a powerhouse of ambition where growth is achieved through hard work, integrity, and building lasting structures. Air signs, the intellectual visionaries. In Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, Jupiter expands the mind and social circles. In Gemini, where Jupiter is in detriment, you may have a million ideas but struggle to focus on one, though your wit is unmatched. In Libra, your growth comes through partnership, diplomacy, and a refined sense of justice. In Aquarius, you are the quintessential humanitarian, finding your greatest expansion when you are working toward the collective good or exploring avant-garde ideas. Water signs, the empathic healers. In Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, Jupiter amplifies the emotional and intuitive faculties. In Cancer, Jupiter is exalted, its highest expression. You are incredibly nurturing, and luck comes through family and home. In Scorpio, your expansion is internal. You have a magnetic, intense presence and a knack for transformation and detective work. In Pisces, Jupiter is the traditional ruler, making you deeply spiritual, imaginative, and perhaps a bit of a dreamer who finds luck through faith and artistic expression. When Jupiter transits your first house, it marks the beginning of a major 12-year cycle of personal growth. If the natal placement is your factory setting, the transit is a software upgrade. It is a period of roughly 1 year where the universe seems to give you a green light, encouraging you to step out of the shadows and into a larger version of yourself. The Great Awakening, crossing the ascendant. The transit begins with a bang as Jupiter crosses your ascendant, the cusp of the first house. This is often felt as a sudden surge of optimism or a thirst for something more. You may feel like you've been living in a room that's too small for you, and suddenly, the walls are being pushed back. This moment is less about receiving a specific prize and more about the inception of a new identity. It is an ideal time to launch new projects, change your appearance, or redefine how you present yourself to the world. Psychological expansion and confidence. As Jupiter moves through the house, your self-confidence typically receives a significant boost. You become less concerned with your past failures and more focused on your future potential. This is the fake it till you make it transit, but with a twist, because Jupiter is involved, you aren't really faking it, you are genuinely tapping into a deeper well of faith. During this time, you may find increased vitality. You likely have more physical energy and a desire to be active. Magnetism, because you are radiating positivity, you naturally attract mentors, lucky breaks, and supportive people. Intellectual hunger, there is often a desire to go back to school, start a major course of study, or travel to a place that challenges your worldview. The physical manifestation. Because the first house rules the physical body, Jupiter's expansion can sometimes be literal. It is common for people to gain weight during this transit, as Jupiter increases the appetite and a general sense of more is better. You might find yourself overindulging in the good life. Conversely, many use this energy to expand their physical presence in healthier ways, such as bodybuilding or adopting a more vibrant, expansive style of dress. The shadow of the transit. The danger of a Jupiter transit is overextension. Because you feel invincible, you might take on more debt, more responsibilities, or more promises than you can actually handle once the transit ends. There is also a risk of becoming slightly too much for others. Your newfound confidence can occasionally veer into arrogance or a holier-than-thou attitude if not tempered with self-awareness. Integration, sowing seeds for the future. The most important thing to remember about Jupiter transiting the first house is that it is a planting season. The opportunities that arise now are seeds that will grow over the next 12 years as Jupiter moves through the rest of your houses. While it feels like a time of results, it is actually the time to say yes to the right things. When Jupiter leaves your first house and enters your second, the focus will shift to your finances and values. Therefore, the goal of this transit is to build the most authentic, confident version of yourself possible, so that you have a strong foundation for the material and social growth that follows. This is your year to take up space, speak your truth, and believe in your own potential. Subscribe, like, and share.